Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to be looking at the poem Where the Mind Is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. So this video lesson is for Usman University Degree Semester 1 General English students. And this is from Unit 5 Poetry section. And there is an important update for Usman University Degree General English students that the Unit 5 is included in Sem 1 syllabus. So the total units in the semester 1 syllabus are 5 units. So we are going to learn Unit 5, a poem Where the Mind Is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. So before we go to read the poem or understand the poem, Where the Mind Is Without Fear, let's have a look at the poet Rabindranath Tagore. He was born in 1861, that was in pre-independent India, and he died in the year 1941 before India got independence. So he was born in Bengal on 7th May 1861. He was popularly known as Vishwakavi or the universal poet, and he never went to a proper school, and he was homeschooled, so he was educated at home. He wrote both in mother tongue Bengali and English. He was a bilingual writer, and he was a versatile person, multifaceted personality, a great writer, musician, music composer, educationist, playwright, essayist, and painter. So he is the sole poet to have written and composed the national anthems of two nations, two countries, India and Bangladesh. All of you know the writer of Indian national anthem Janagana Mana is Rabindranath Tagore, and Bangladesh national anthem is Amar Sonal Bangla. So he uh, wrote and composed the national anthems of two countries, India and Bangladesh. Tagore was a universal poet of Vishwakavi, and he was a leader of Brahmo Samaj. So Brahmo Samaj didn't believe in idol worship, and Tagore was one of the key figures of Brahmo Samaj. He was an instrumental figure in establishment of Brahmo Samaj. So he was a progressive man. He was against caste discrimination. He was against untouchability, and he was knighted by the British government in the year 1915 for his Gitanjali, for his contribution to the literature. But in the year 1919, he renounced knighthood uh, in protest against Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and he established an experimental school in the year 1901 at Shantiniketan. So later it became Vishwabharati University, and Tagore is considered to be uh, the greatest poet in modern India. The present poem, Where the Mind Is Without Fear, is originally written in Bengali under the title Prarthana. It means a prayer. So the poem Where the Mind Is Without Fear is translated from Bengali to English by Tagore, and he included this poem as a 35th poem in Gitanjali, and he was the first Asian to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1930 for his poetry collection Gitanjali. He created a new style of music called Rabindra Sangeet by writing and composing. So, what's the central theme of the poem? So, the main theme of the poem is freedom, social freedom, intellectual freedom, and spiritual freedom. So, the tone of the poem is patriotic and prayerful. So, this is an inspiring poem. This is a unique piece of uh, literature, and the mood of the poem is, here the poet is very optimistic, and he shows optimism for a better nation. And here the poet uses abundant imagery in the poem. So let us see this powerful imagery. So mind is without fear. It means intellectual freedom. The poet imagines a nation where people live with confidence, dignity, and freedom. Here, the poet envisions how his country would be after independence. So, knowledge is free. Here, universal education. The poet says that education should be accessible to all without discrimination of caste, class, gender, or community. So, knowledge must not be restricted or limited. It should be accessible to all, irrespective of gender, caste, class, or community. So, next imagery, narrow domestic walls. Here, the Tagore criticizes divisions in society, the divisions caused by caste, religion, region, language, and class. So he dreams of a united world where people uh, live happily, where people do not hate, or where people do not separate themselves. Next, clear stream of a reason versus a dreary desert of dead habit. So this is a contrast between rational thinking and blind tradition. So here the clear stream of reason represents logical thinking, scientific attitude, and open-mindedness. But a dreary desert of dead habit represents outdated customs, superstitions, and narrow mindedness. So I'll explain the poem line by line. Where the mind is without fear. Here, you see, every line begins with the word where. So it's the poet talks about a place, and he imagines a nation, and he is very optimistic of a better nation, and he envisions how his country would be after independence. So the poem is written during a colonial period. India was ruled by British government, and Tagore was a supporter of freedom struggle, freedom movement, and he renounced his knighthood in the year 1919 in protest against Jallianwala Bagh. And here, let's read the poem where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. So here the poet imagines a nation where his people live fearlessly and walk with self-respect. So where people live with dignity, with without fear, fearlessly, and where people can walk with self-respect. So he imagines a nation, and he imagines our country where knowledge is free. Here, education. Education should be accessible to all, irrespective of caste, gender, or class, or region. And it should not be limited to one section. It should not be restricted. So, knowledge should be free. Education should be accessible to all, irrespective of gender or caste. Where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. The Tagore criticizes the divisions in the society, divisions caused by caste, class, region, or religion or language. So he dreamt of a united world where there are no fragments and there are no divisions in the society, where there are uh, where the people are not separated by caste or class. Next slide. Where words come out from the depth of truth. So the poet talks about sincerity and moral courage, where people live with honesty and they speak truth. Next slide. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. So tireless striving searches. The poet imagines a nation, a people of hard working. Okay, so people should be hardworking and they continuously work for the development of nation and they work for the progress of the nation. Next, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. So here we see a powerful imagery used by Tagore. Clear stream of reason. It's, you see a flow of water, a dreary a desert. It's a barren land, no water. Here there is a contrast between rationality and superstitions and unproductive beliefs. So clear stream of reason represents open-mindedness and scientific attitude, but a dreary desert sand of dead habit, it represents narrow-mindedness, superstitions, unproductive beliefs, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening a thought. So that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. Here the poet prays to God to guide human beings towards a greater knowledge, creativity, and noble actions. So he wants continuous progress, not stagnation. So here the poet prays to God, and here the poem ends with a powerful prayer. Tagore asks God to awaken his country into the state of true freedom, true freedom, social freedom, mental freedom, intellectual freedom, and a spiritual freedom. So this is a summary of the poem, and I have given the summary in the description box. Please check the box, and also I have given my blogs link in the description box. Click the link for Usman University undergraduate semester 1 notes and also grammar exercises. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you very much.